Hello students, today I am going to prove theorem 1. So coming to the statement of theorem 1, so that is let V of f be a vector space and W is subset of V. So then prove that the necessary and sufficient condition means if and only if statement. For a W is subspace of V or alpha belongs to W, comma beta belongs to W implies alpha minus beta belongs to W, and A belongs to F, comma alpha belongs to W implies A alpha belongs to W. So here necessary and sufficient condition means if and only if theorem. It means we have to suppose one part and we have to prove the second part, and after that we have to suppose the second part and we have to prove the first part. Okay, so and in this theorem the common hypothesis is V of f is a vector space and also W is subset of V. That was the common hypothesis. Okay, right. So coming to the proof, yes, first I have written that given V of f is a vector space, okay, and also W is subset of V, right? That was given in the theorem hypothesis. So now I am going to suppose the first part, that is I am supposing that W is subspace of V. Okay, so here see here in the theorem it was given that W is subspace of V. Okay, I am supposing that. So W is subspace of V, right? So in our previous class, we have already discussed about the definitions of subspace as well as vector space. So coming to the definition of subspace, if you want to say a set to be a subspace of vector space, first of all, that set should be a subset of V, and after that it should satisfy all the conditions of vector space. It means that set itself is a vector space. Whenever these two conditions are satisfied by that set, then we say that that set is a subspace. Okay, here we are supposing that W is subspace of V. It means W itself is a vector space. According to the definition of subspace, we can write W itself is a vector space. So that is why I have written here W is vector space. Okay, so whenever W is vector space, according to the definition of vector space, so we are having that W comma plus is an abelian group. Okay, so see here in the definition of vector space, we are having in the first condition we are having V comma plus is an abelian group. Okay, here in the definition we are using the set V. So whereas in the theorem we are using W. So that whenever you are saying that W is vector space, so then we can write W comma plus is an abelian group. Okay, so in abelian group we are having 5 conditions. So those are closure property, associative property, identity property, inverse property, and commutative property. So all these conditions holds in abelian group. Okay, right. So by supposing W is subspace of V, now I am going to prove those 2 conditions in theorem. Okay, so coming to the first condition, so we have to consider 2 elements in W. So that is why I have considered alpha belongs to W and beta belongs to W. This implies I am writing alpha as usually. While coming to beta, since inverse property holds in W, so that I am writing whenever alpha belongs to W, we can write minus beta, beta belongs to W, we can write minus beta belongs to W. Okay, that is by inverse property. Yes, inverse property also holds in W, so that I am using that property. So minus beta also belongs to W. After that, whenever we are having 2 elements in W, then you can use closure property. I can use any of these properties. Okay, so but I am using closure property. So what closure property states as, whenever we are having 2 elements in a set, then the sum of those 2 elements should also belong to the same set. Okay, here we are using the operation plus, so that I am writing alpha plus of minus beta belongs to W. Here plus into minus is nothing but minus. So alpha minus beta belongs to W. So this is the first condition. Okay, so I have proved the first condition with the help of inverse property and closure property in W. Okay, right. Coming to the second condition, that is we have to consider A from F and alpha from W. So we have to prove that A alpha should also belongs to W. Okay, right. So Here we have supposed that W is vector space. Whenever you say that W is vector space, by the definition of vector space, second condition. In second condition, we are having, once again, I am showing the definition. In second condition, we are having A alpha belongs to V whenever you suppose A from F and alpha from V. Yes, once again, in V, in place of V, we are having W. So whenever you consider an element from F and alpha from W, then clearly by the definition of vector space, we can write A alpha belongs to W. Okay, this is by closed scalar multiplication property. So we call that second property of vector space definition as closed scalar multiplication property. Okay, so I supposed W is subspace of V and I have proved these two conditions. It means the first part is clear. Okay, so now we have to suppose the second part, that is the converse part. It means we have to suppose these two conditions now, and now we have to prove that W is subspace of V. Okay, so that is what I have written here. Conversely, comma, suppose that those two conditions, and we have to prove that W is subspace of V. Okay, so according to the definition of subspace, if you want to say a set to be a subspace of vector space, first of all, that set should be a subset of vector space. Yes, it was already given in the theorem hypothesis that W is subset of V. Okay, after that W itself is a vector space. After that, we have to prove that W itself is a vector space. So whenever W is subset of V and W itself is a vector space, by combining these two statements, we can conclude that W is subspace of V. Okay, right. So clearly W is subset of V. It was given in the theorem hypothesis. So that now I am going to prove W itself is a vector space. It means we have to prove all the conditions of vector space definition. Okay, right. So first we have to prove that W comma plus is an abelian group. That was the first condition in vector space definition. Once again, in abelian group, we are having 5 conditions. That was already we discussed: closure property, associative property, inverse property, identity property, of course, commutative property. Right. First, I am going to prove identity property. Okay. So why I am going to prove identity property first means, so listen carefully. Let alpha belongs to W. Why? Because means, so we have to prove the conditions of vector space definition with the help of our converse part only. So in our converse part, we are having 2 conditions. So with the help of those 2 conditions only, we have to say that W is vector space. Okay, that is why I am first proving that identity property. For identity property, I am considering alpha belongs to W, comma, alpha belongs to W. I have considered the same element 2 times. Okay, this implies, so by our converse supposition first bit, whenever we are having 2 elements in W, then the difference of those 2 elements should also belong to W. We can write it, we can use it, that condition. So that I am writing alpha minus alpha, so belongs to W. This is by converse supposition. I am mentioning the reason by converse supposition. This implies alpha minus alpha is 0. 0 belongs to W. So whenever you say that 0 belongs to W, so therefore identity property holds. So what is identity property with respect to plus? So we have to say that the 0 belongs to that particular set. So whenever you say that 0 belongs to that particular set, then clearly identity property holds. Yes, here clearly 0 belongs to W. So one property is clear. After that, I am going to prove inverse property. So inverse property. So for inverse property, you have to consider one element, that alpha belongs to W. Okay. So just now we have proved that 0 belongs to W. So I am using that element also, comma, 0 belongs to W. Okay. So this implies I am writing that 0 belongs to W, comma, alpha belongs to W. So I have considered 0 first, and after that I have considered alpha. Once again, by converse opposition or by converse part, we get 0 minus alpha belongs to W. So once again, I am using the first condition. Whenever we are having two elements in W, we can write those, thus the difference of those two elements belongs to W. So here one is 0 and the second one is alpha. So the 0 minus alpha belongs to W. It means we get minus alpha belongs to W. So this is inverse property. So inverse property is nothing but whenever you consider an element in W, I consider alpha in W. Immediately I have proved that minus alpha also belongs to W. So in place of alpha, if you consider any element other than alpha, then also I can prove that. So that particular minus into that element also belongs to W. So this is inverse property. Okay. So now you can understand that why I have proved identity property first means in inverse property, I am using the identity element, that is 0. So without proving that the identity property holds, we cannot use 0 in inverse property. So first I have proved identity property. Okay. After that, I have proved inverse property. Okay, right. After inverse property, so now you can write inverse property holds. Inverse property holds. So after inverse property, now I am going to prove closure property. Closure property. So for closure property, we have to consider two elements, that alpha comma beta belongs to W. Okay. So this implies what we have to prove is the closure property is nothing but the sum of those two elements should also belong to W. That is what we have to prove. Okay, right. So whenever alpha belongs to W, once again I am writing alpha belongs to W comma. So just now we proved the inverse property. So inverse property is nothing but whenever you suppose alpha in W, then minus alpha should also belong to W. So this is true for every element in W. So here beta belongs to W, so that I am writing minus beta should also belong to W. That is by inverse property. You can write by inverse property. So just now we have proved inverse property, so that I am using the inverse property. Okay. So that we are having two elements, one is alpha and the second one is minus beta. This implies once again by our converse part, first bit, the difference of those two elements should also belong to W. Okay. So it means I can write alpha minus of the second element is minus beta, so belongs to W. So alpha minus of minus means alpha plus beta belongs to W. So this is closure property. So I have considered alpha comma beta in W and I have proved alpha plus beta belongs to W. So therefore closure property holds. So now you can understand that why I have not proved the closure property first, because we have to every time we have to use the converse opposition to prove the conditions of vector space. So if you want to prove the closure property first, here we don't know whenever beta belongs to W, minus beta should also belongs to W. So here we are writing minus beta belongs to W because inverse property holds. It means after proving inverse property only we can prove closure property. Okay. So while proving inverse property, so we don't know 0 belongs to W or not. So that first we have proved identity property. So with the help of identity property, I proved inverse property. So with the help of inverse property, I proved closure property. So that here the conditions are not in order. Okay, generally in abelian group conditions, we are having first closure property, next associative, after that identity, after that inverse, and finally commutative. But in this theorem, these conditions are not in order because, so with the help of that above condition only, we can prove this condition. So after knowing the identity element only, we can find the inverse condition. After proving the inverse condition only, we can prove the closure property condition. So that we have proved in this way. Okay. So after closure property, next I am writing that since W is subset of V. Yes, this was already given in the hypothesis. So whenever W is subset of V, So all the elements in W are elements in V. Yes, whenever you are saying that W is subset of V, then every element in W should belongs to V. But V is a vector space. We know that V is a vector space. So therefore, the vector addition is associative and commutative. So the vector addition is associative and commutative. And commutative in W. I can write it in W. It means we need not to prove associative property and commutative property. Why? Because if you want to prove associative property, we have to consider three elements in W. Clearly, those three elements belongs to V. Since V is vector space, then clearly associative property holds. So I have considered three elements in W, then associative property holds. Similarly, if you consider two elements in W, clearly those two elements belongs to V. Whenever you are saying that those two elements belongs to V and V is vector space, then clearly commutative property holds. It means A plus B is equal to B plus A. So we need not to prove those two conditions. So here 5 conditions are satisfied: closure property, associative property, inverse property, commutative identity property, and commutative property. So whenever these 5 conditions are satisfied, then we can write W comma plus is an abelian group. So this was the first condition in vector space definition. Is it clear? Right. So after that, we have to prove the second condition, that is closed scalar multiplication property. We can call that condition as closed scalar multiplication property. So for that we have to consider an element from F, that is scalar field, and one element from W, that is I am considering alpha from W. So we have to prove that A alpha belongs to W. That was the second condition in vector space definition. Okay, but in our converse part, we have used only one condition for now, up to now. Okay, so that is alpha belongs to W, beta belongs to W, implies alpha minus beta belongs to W. We are having one more condition, that is whenever you consider an element from F and another element from W, we can write A alpha belongs to W. Okay, so once again I am writing that. So by converse part, A alpha belongs to W. Okay, so A alpha belongs to W, therefore closed scalar multiplication property holds. Closed scalar multiplication property holds. Okay, this was the second condition in vector space definition. So with the help of our converse part, we have proved it. Okay, so once again coming to the postulates also, we need not to prove all the postulates. Why? Because means since W is subset of V, that is the condition we are having, so that other postulates, of vector space holds in W. The only reason I am saying that, since W is subset of V, whatever the elements you consider in W, clearly those elements belongs to V. And since V is vector space, all the conditions holds under W. Okay, right. That is, therefore, I am saying that, so we need not to prove postulates, because the only reason is W is subset of V. So whenever W is subset of V, if you consider any two elements or any three elements in W, clearly those three elements belongs to V. Since V is vector space, clearly the definition, the condition holds for those three elements. Okay, I consider three elements in V and the condition holds. So in this way, we can prove that all the postulates. So that I have proved all the conditions of vector space definition. So therefore, I can write W is vector space. So already it was given that W is subset. Okay, so by combining these two statements, we can write, therefore W is subspace. W is subspace of V of F, and hence the theorem. Okay. So once again, in this theorem, what we have to prove is necessary and sufficient condition means we have to suppose the first part and we have to prove the second part, and conversely we have to suppose the second part and we have to prove the first part. So first I have supposed that W is subspace of V. So by that supposition I have proved these two conditions, and conversely I have supposed these two conditions and I have proved W is subspace of V. In order to prove W is subspace, what we have to prove is W itself is a vector space. So once again, the definition of vector space is first we have to satisfy the abelian group conditions, after that closure scalar multiplication property, and after that postulates. Yes, all those conditions holds in W. So that I have written that W is vector space. So hence W is subspace of V of F. Hence the theorem. Thank you.